Hey coin fans and treasure hunters, welcome to World Rare Coins, the place where history, mystery, and massive value collide in the world of rare US coins. If you think a quarter is just pocket change, think again. Here, we uncover hidden gems, minting mistakes, and mind-blowing stories behind coins that collectors dream about. Ready to discover coins that could change your life? Then stick around, because you're about to enter the thrilling world of rare coins like never before. Let's get started. Top 1 today, we're diving into a remarkable modern coin that has stirred up quite a bit of excitement in the numismatic world. The 2021 Washington Quarter, featuring the iconic scene of George Washington crossing the Delaware. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a regular quarter, right? It's from 2021. That's too recent to be valuable. But stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this coin is not just special, but could also be hiding a secret that turns it into a collector's dream. One version of this coin has sold for an astonishing sum, and we're going to reveal exactly how much that is in just a moment. Let's begin by setting the stage. The 2021 Washington Quarter marked a transition in U.S. coin design. For over a decade, we had been enjoying the America the Beautiful series, showcasing national parks and historic sites. But in 2021, the U.S. Mint decided to shift gears. The new quarter features a bold image of George Washington, not his familiar side profile we've seen since 1932, but an action pose, sword in hand, standing strong on a boat as he crosses the icy Delaware River during the Revolutionary War. This was a dramatic shift from the calm and stoic image we all knew. The new reverse side is dynamic, patriotic, and steeped in American history. Washington's determined stance represents courage and leadership, symbolizing a defining moment in the birth of a nation. The design struck a chord with collectors almost immediately. It's not just a coin. It's a tribute to perseverance and a pivotal chapter in American history. But beyond the compelling design, why is this coin suddenly on every collector's radar? What makes the 2021 crossing the Delaware Quarter more than just your everyday pocket change? Here's where things get exciting. The U.S. Mint struck millions of these quarters. Yes, millions. But not all quarters are created equal. Among the sea of standard coins, there are a few that stand out due to rare minting errors, low production runs for certain finishes, and specific conditions that have made them exceptionally valuable. Some of these anomalies are so rare that they've transformed ordinary-looking quarters into absolute treasures. Let's talk about the kinds of errors collectors have uncovered in this 2021 design. First up, we have struck-through errors. These occur when a foreign object like grease or debris ends up between the die and the planchet during minting. The result is a coin that appears smudged, faded, or oddly shaped in specific areas. In some rare 2021 Washington quarters, struck-through errors have been found right on Washington's face or over the date, making for an unusual and highly desirable collector's item. Then, there's the off-center strike. Imagine a quarter where part of the design is literally missing because the die didn't hit the blank coin in the correct spot. These off-center errors can range from slight misalignments to dramatic, eye-catching mistakes where a third of the coin is blank. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Another fascinating and rare error found on this quarter is known as a die clash. This happens when the two dies, which normally stamp the front and back images on the coin, strike each other without a planchet between them. This causes parts of the design from one side of the coin to appear faintly on the other side. Die clashes are visually stunning and offer a glimpse into the minting process gone slightly awry. Collectors also seek out doubled dies, especially around Washington's sword, the lettering, or the date. On these error coins, certain elements appear slightly duplicated or shadowed due to a misalignment during the die hubbing process. This kind of doubling isn't just cool to look at, it adds serious value. And then there are condition-based rarities. A regular 2021 Washington quarter might not seem special when it's worn or tarnished. But in mint state condition, especially graded MS, 67 or higher, the coin becomes incredibly desirable. Collectors prize high-grade coins that show zero signs of wear and preserve every detail of the original strike. These pristine examples are not easy to come by, even in modern coins, because most enter circulation quickly and get scratched, dinged, or dirted before collectors ever see them. Now imagine finding one of these rare quarters with a dramatic mint error, in flawless condition, still gleaming like the day it left the mint. That's the kind of discovery coin hunters dream about. And some lucky collectors have already struck gold. One particularly rare version of the 2021 crossing the Delaware quarter was found with a spectacular error, believed to be a combination of misstrike and die break, resulting in a one-of-a-kind collectible. After authentication and expert grading, this special coin made headlines by fetching an incredible price at auction. Are you ready for it? That single quarter sold for $91,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. 91,000 US dollars for a coin that originally had a face value of just 25 cents. It's hard to believe, but that's the magic of numismatics. Condition, rarity, and error alignment all came together in a perfect storm to turn that tiny piece of metal into a fortune. So what does this mean for you? It means that you might have a hidden gem in your pocket change, a forgotten treasure in your coin jar, or a small fortune stashed away in an old drawer. Check your 2021 quarters carefully. Look for any signs of mint errors, unusual marks, doubling, off-center designs, or anything that doesn't look quite right. If you find one that seems suspiciously different, don't spend it. Get it evaluated by a professional or certified coin grading service. You could be sitting on something incredibly valuable. Even if you don't find the big one, collecting coins like the 2021 Washington Quarter is an enjoyable and rewarding hobby. You're not just collecting metal, you're preserving pieces of history, artistry, and sometimes mystery. And who knows? That next quarter you get in your change could be the one that changes your life. Top 2, we're diving deep into the fascinating story behind a coin that millions of Americans have seen and spent without giving it a second thought. The 1965 Washington Quarter. Yes, you heard that right. The 1965 quarter. It's easy to overlook. It doesn't look especially flashy. It's not ancient, and it's not made of silver. Or is it? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in this seemingly ordinary coin. There are rare variations of the 1965 quarter that have fetched thousands, and one extraordinary example even reached a mind-blowing value that we'll reveal in just a few moments. So, what makes the 1965 Washington Quarter so special? To understand its significance, we have to go back in time, not just to 1965, but a few years before that. You see, up until 1964, quarters in the United States were made from 90% silver. But the rising price of silver in the early 1960s caused a national coin shortage. People started hoarding coins for their metal value, and the U.S. Mint faced a serious crisis. In response, the government made a bold move. Starting in 1965, they removed silver from dimes and quarters entirely, switching to a copper-nickel-clad composition, basically a copper core with a nickel outer layer. That change helped get coins back into circulation, but it also made 1965 a pivotal year in U.S. coinage history. The 1965 Washington Quarter was the first year of this new non-silver design, and that alone makes it notable. But the real intrigue begins when you consider what happened behind the scenes at the Mint. Because of the urgency to transition away from silver, the Mint was working around the clock. Some coins intended for 1964 were accidentally struck using silver planchets that somehow got mixed into 1965 production batches. These silver coins weren't supposed to exist, but a few escaped into the wild. And that's where things get very interesting. Now, imagine coming across a 1965 quarter that feels just a little heavier, or sounds different when you drop it on a hard surface. That ringing, high-pitched sound might be your first clue that it's not your average coin, because it might just be one of the rare silver-struck 1965 quarters, a mistake that collectors are willing to pay a fortune for. But silver content isn't the only thing that can make this coin valuable. There are a variety of rare minting errors found on 1965 quarters that have sent collectors into a frenzy. Let's go through a few of them. First, we have off-metal errors. These occur when a quarter is mistakenly struck on a planchet mint for another coin, like a dime. These off-metal quarters are undersized and often weigh less than they should. When authenticated, they can sell for thousands of dollars. Next, there are double die errors, especially on the obverse side where George Washington's face appears. This error results in slight but noticeable doubling of the lettering or date, often around Liberty or In God We Trust. Coins with strong doubling are extremely collectible and can command high prices depending on the condition and clarity of the error. Then, there are struck-through errors, which occur when foreign objects, like grease, threads, or other debris, interfere with the striking process. This can leave strange imprints or blank patches on the coin, making each error coin completely unique. Another very sought-after error is the clipped planchet. This is when the blank metal disc used to make the coin is improperly cut, resulting in a coin with a curved missing edge. If that missing portion occurs in just the right place, say, cutting through part of Washington's profile or the date, collectors go crazy for it. Now let's talk about coin condition, or what collectors call grade. Most 1965 quarters in circulation today show signs of wear, scratches, dings, discoloration. But a small number of these coins have survived in stunning condition, with their original luster, sharp details, and no signs of handling. Coins that have been graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC at MS 67 or higher are extremely rare. Add an error or off-metal composition to that kind of pristine condition. That's where the value skyrockets. Now you might be asking, how can you tell if your 1965 quarter is silver or clad? Here's a quick tip. Look at the edge of the coin. If you see a solid silver color all the way around, without the distinctive copper stripe in the middle, it might be a silver planchet error. But don't stop there. You'll want to weigh the coin, because silver quarters weigh more than their clad counterparts. A silver quarter should weigh about 6.25 grams, while the standard copper-nickel ones weigh approximately 5.67 grams. And remember, any unusual variation is worth checking. If your coin looks or feels different from the others, don't dismiss it. What seems like a minor detail to you could be worth a major payout to a collector. What happened to the rarest 1965 quarter ever found? It was a silver planchet error, struck with the 1965 design, but using the silver composition from 1964. After authentication and grading, it was determined to be a unique surviving specimen in near-perfect condition, and that single coin, a simple quarter from 1965, sold for an unbelievable total of $87,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A 25-cent coin, likely once sitting unnoticed in someone's change jar, ended up being worth more than a brand new car, all because of a rare minting mistake. Let that sink in for a moment. This is why coin collecting continues to capture the imagination of so many people. It's the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that something ordinary might actually be extraordinary. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting out, there's always the chance that the next coin you examine could change your life. So go ahead. Check your change. Look through that old jar of coins in your closet. If you find a 1965 quarter, take a closer look. It might just be hiding a secret. Top 3, we're diving into the incredible story behind a coin that most people don't think twice about. The 1982 Washington quarter. Yes, that's right. A quarter from 1982, the kind that may be sitting unnoticed in a drawer, inside an old piggy bank, or rattling around in your car's cup holder. But here's the catch. This isn't just any quarter. Some versions of the 1982 Washington quarter have become legendary among collectors, and one of them is sold for an eye-popping amount that we'll reveal later in this video. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for that. Let's take a step back and understand what makes this particular coin so interesting, starting with the year itself. The year 1982 was a transitional and turbulent time for coin production in the United States. Inflation was rising, the cost of materials was fluctuating, and the U.S. Mint was looking for ways to cut costs and simplify its operations. One of the first areas affected was the production of coins, especially the quartered in 1982. The Mint did not produce any uncirculated mint sets, which are typically packaged collections of coins issued each year for collectors. This meant that nearly all 1982 quarters entered public circulation. As a result, finding these coins in pristine, mint-state condition is surprisingly difficult. Unlike other years where uncirculated sets preserved a portion of the coins in untouched condition, the 1982 quarters were exposed to daily use right from the start. But that's just the beginning of what makes this coin special. There's a fascinating twist to the 1982 Washington quarter. Two distinct varieties were produced, one with a strong strike and clear details, and another with a weak or missing mint mark. along with some other unique differences that have made certain 1982 quarters much more collectible than others. Let's talk about those varieties. First, you have the 1982 P quarter, minted in Philadelphia, and the 1982 D quarter, minted in Denver. The Denver version usually has a small D mint mark on the front of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. But in some rare examples, the mint mark is missing or extremely faint, making these coins quite rare. Why? Because the die used to strike the coin either wore down too much or was improperly prepared, resulting in an error that most people didn't even notice at the time. Even more intriguing is the no mint mark variety. While Philadelphia coins traditionally lacked mint marks until later in the 1980s, some coins from that year show errors in date spacing, irregular surfaces, or even unusual planchet compositions, which further piqued collector interest. Another point of interest, during 1982, the mint was still adapting to changes in coin composition. Though quarters had already switched from silver to copper-nickel-clad years earlier, inconsistencies in the alloy mix, strike pressure, and die maintenance during the minting process led to noticeable differences in appearance. That's where error coins enter the picture. Let's explore some of the most valuable error types found in 1982 quarters. One of the most sought after is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't correctly aligned with the die during minting, resulting in a coin with part of the design missing. Depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is, it could make the coin far more valuable than its face value. Then we have the double die error. This occurs when the coin is struck by a die that has been misaligned or improperly engraved, causing elements like the date or the word Liberty to appear slightly doubled. These doubling errors, when crisp and clear, can make even a circulated coin significantly more desirable. Another collector favorite is the broad strike error, where the coin's rim is not fully formed, creating a warped or stretched appearance. Broad strikes are usually caused by the coin being struck without the collar that shapes its edge, and while they may look odd, collectors love them, especially if they come from key years like 1982. Perhaps the most mysterious and valuable of all are the wrong planchet errors. Imagine a quarter that was accidentally struck on a planchet mint for a penny or a foreign coin. The size, weight, and coloration may all seem slightly off, and that's exactly why they're so special. These kinds of mistakes are extremely rare, and when authenticated, they can command serious prices at auction. But even without errors, a 1982 Washington quarter in high-grade condition, say, graded MS 67 or above, can be remarkably rare. Why? Because as mentioned earlier, there were no official mint sets produced that year. So finding a coin that was never circulated, that somehow escaped all wear and tear, is incredibly difficult. The vast majority of 1,982 quarters show signs of heavy use, scratches, fading, or damage. But a pristine one? That's like finding a diamond in the rough. Coin grading plays a huge role in determining value. For example, a coin graded MS 63 might be worth a few dollars, while an MS 66 example might reach hundreds. But the moment you hit those higher grades, especially MS 67 or MS 68, the value can leap exponentially. Now, throw in an error or rare variety. That's where the magic happens, and this brings us to the most astonishing part of our story. Not long ago, a rare 1982 Washington quarter, featuring a unique combination of factors: high-grade condition, a dramatic minting error, and exceptional eye appeal, made headlines when it was sold at auction. Collectors and dealers were stunned by the price. Experts had estimated its value to be high, but the final hammer price far exceeded expectations. So, how much did this rare and beautiful 1982 quarter sell for? That single coin was sold for an extraordinary amount of $85,000. Yes, $85,000 for a quarter that someone could have easily spent on a soda, a bus ride, or tossed in a jar. That's the thrill of coin collecting. The idea that one overlooked item could be hiding immense value, just waiting to be discovered. The next time you get change from the store or sort through an old box of coins, don't rush. Take your time. Look carefully. Check the date. Examine the details. That one coin you barely noticed might be the key to an amazing treasure. Top 4, we're going to explore why some of these coins are anything but ordinary. Sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and listen closely. because this might just be one of those moments that changes how you look at the coins in your change jar forever. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932. For decades, it featured the same classic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, with various reverse designs being introduced over the years. But 1998 holds a unique place in quarter history. Why? Because it was the final year before the launch of the wildly popular 50-state quarters program, which began in 1999. But that makes the 1998 quarter the last of the classic series, and that alone gives it a touch of historic significance. Collectors love firsts and lasts, and 1998 marks the end of an era. But that's just scratching the surface. Because when it comes to value, condition, and rarity, this coin has even more surprises in store. Now, the 1998 Washington quarter was minted in three major versions. The Philadelphia Mint, which shows a P mint mark, the Denver Mint, with a D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, which made proof versions. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced hundreds of millions of these quarters for circulation, so most are still very common. You probably have a few lying around without even realizing it. But here's where things get exciting. Among the millions produced, a small handful of these coins were struck with unusual errors. Errors so rare, so unexpected, that they've become the stuff of legend in the coin collecting community. And one of them sold for a truly stunning price. Let's explore some of the rare and valuable errors you need to know about if you're holding a 1998 quarter point. One of the most talked about errors is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank, or planchet, isn't aligned properly in the press. The result? A coin where part of the design is missing, and sometimes a chunk of the coin itself is visibly off. The more off-center the strike, without completely losing critical details like the date, the more valuable the coin becomes. Then we have the double die error, a favorite among collectors. In these quarters, you'll notice slight but distinct doubling in the text or numbers, usually around Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date itself. If you see shadows or repeated lines in those areas under magnification, you might be looking at a double die, and that means value. Another standout error found in some 1998 quarters is the broad strike error. This happens when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread out and flatten, creating a larger and smoother coin with an unusual appearance. These coins catch collectors' eyes because they just look wrong, but in the best possible way. But perhaps the most dramatic and valuable error of them all is the wrong planchet strike. When a quarter design is accidentally struck onto a blank mint for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. Imagine a quarter-sized coin that's thinner or lighter or made from a different metal entirely. These errors are extremely rare, and when authenticated, they can sell for thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of dollars. But condition matters too. Most 1998 quarters that have been circulated for years show signs of wear. They've been in pockets, dropped, scratched, used in vending machines. But a coin that's in mint state condition, meaning it shows no signs of use and still retains its original shine, is worth much more. A coin graded MS 65 or higher can easily stand out in the eyes of collectors. And if that coin also has a rare mint error, that's the golden ticket. Now, here's something else that surprises many people. Some of the most valuable 1998 quarters came from proof sets. Those high-quality coins specially struck for collectors using polished dies. The 1998 S-proof coins, made in San Francisco, were never meant for general circulation. But somehow, one extremely rare version made it out into the world, and it wasn't just a normal proof. This coin was a 1998 S silver-proof quarter, but what made it so rare was that it had a striking error combined with a perfect, uncirculated surface. It was graded at the highest possible level, a near-perfect gem that should have never made it into circulation at all. That coin became the talk of the collecting community. After careful authentication, grading, and several rounds of offers, it was eventually sold at auction. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. That single 1998 Washington quarter, with the right combination of rarity, condition, and minting error, sold for an incredible total of $83,000. Yes, that's right. A coin worth 25 cents turned out to be worth $83,000. Think about that for a moment. How many quarters have passed through your hands in your lifetime? How many have you tossed in jars, forgotten in couch cushions, or handed over without even looking at them. One of them, just one, could be hiding a secret. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's not just about metal. It's about history. It's about mistakes that became treasures. And it's about the thrill of discovering something no one else saw coming. So, what should you do next? Start by checking your quarters. Especially 1998. Look at the date, the mint mark, the edge of the coin. Is it perfectly round? Is the text sharp and clear? Does anything look off or unusual? If you suspect you have a rare variety or error, consider weighing the coin or getting it examined by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even if it's not worth tens of thousands, it could still fetch a decent return and be a fascinating piece to add to your collection. Top 5. We're diving into a coin you've probably seen countless times without realizing it might be hiding something incredible. The 1997 United States of America Washington quarter. That's right, a quarter from 1997. At first glance, it looks like any other Washington quarter. Same face, same size, same shine. But what if I told you that one of these coins, with the right combination of condition and a rare minting error, sold for a staggering amount of money? And no, we're not talking about a few $100 or even a few thousand. We're talking about a coin that went for tens of thousands. Before we get to the unbelievable number, let's first understand why this particular coin has gained such attention in the world of numismatics. Because let me tell you, it's not just about the age of a coin. It's about history, condition, rarity, and the fascinating imperfections that sometimes happen during the minting process. So, let's start with a little backstory. The 1997 Washington quarter is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It became a permanent fixture in U.S. coinage and stayed relatively unchanged for decades. By 1997, the Mint was producing these coins in preparation for a major shift, the launch of the 50-state quarters program, which would begin the following year in 1999. This makes 1997 one of the last years of the classic Washington quarter design, a quiet end to a historic chapter in American coins. And that alone gives it a bit of added historical significance. But we're just getting started. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Most 1997 quarters are incredibly common. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced hundreds of millions of them. So finding one isn't hard. You probably have one right now in your house or pocket, but not all quarters are created equal. Some of them, very few of them, contain errors. Tiny, nearly invisible mistakes that turn a regular coin into a collector's dream. Now let's talk about some of the rare errors found in the 1997 Washington quarter that make them so valuable. First up is the double die error. This is when a coin is struck by a die that has shifted slightly, causing doubling of the design elements. If you look closely at the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or the date, and see ghost-like shadows or doubling, you might be looking at a double die. These errors are subtle but extremely collectible when they're clear and dramatic. Combine that with a high-grade condition, now you're in valuable territory. Next is the off-center strike, an error that happens when the planchet or coin blank isn't perfectly aligned in the minting press. This causes the design to be printed off to one side, sometimes cutting off part of Washington's head or the edge lettering. The more off-center the coin, the rarer it becomes. A 10% off-center strike might be interesting. A 60% off-center coin? That could be worth a fortune. There are also broad strike errors, where the coin is struck without the metal collar that shapes the rim. These coins appear stretched or slightly wider than normal and lack the reeded edges you'd expect. They're a favorite among error collectors. Another rare gem is the wrong planchet strike. This happens when a quarter design is accidentally struck on a coin blank intended for a different denomination, like a nickel or a penny. This results in a coin that looks bizarrely off in color, size, or weight. These errors are incredibly rare and very valuable when authenticated. And then we have the clipped planchet error. This occurs when part of the coin blank is cut off before the strike. The coin may be missing a curved portion, almost like someone took a bite out of it. When paired with a visible date and mint mark, these errors become highly sought-after collectibles. Now, let's talk about condition, a critical factor in any coin's value. Most 1997 quarters you'll find have been through it all: scratched, scuffed, dinged, and worn down from decades of use. But a coin that somehow escaped circulation, stored away untouched, and preserved in perfect mint state condition? That's a different story. These coins are graded by professional services such as NGC or PCGS. A coin graded MS 65 or higher is already rare. MS 67 or MS 68. That's the level where collectors start paying serious money. And now, imagine finding one of those rare mint state 1997 quarters that also has a major error. That's the kind of discovery that turns a 25-cent coin into something you could build an entire collection around. But let's look at a real example. Not long ago, a 1997 Washington quarter with a combination of errors, including a double die and a near-perfect MS 68 grade, was discovered. It had been sitting unnoticed for years, tucked away in a private collection. Once it was authenticated and sent to auction, collectors couldn't believe what they were seeing. Bidding was fierce, and the final sale price shocked even veteran numismatists. So, what was the final value? Are you ready? That 1997 Washington quarter, with its rare minting error and flawless condition, sold for a jaw-dropping $80,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin worth 25 cents in theory sold for $80,000 in real life. And that's why coin collecting is more than just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt. One where the next big discovery could be hiding in your pocket change, or inside a jar at your grandmother's house, or in that drawer full of old coins you've been meaning to sort through for years. So the next time you come across a 1997 quarter, don't just toss it aside. Take a close look. Examine the details. Use a magnifier if you can. Pay attention to the edges, the date, the mint mark. You never know. You might be holding something extraordinary. That if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next coin spotlight. We have tons more stories, values, and collector secrets to share, and each one might lead you closer to your next great find. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay sharp, and happy collecting.